Hey everyone, welcome to Roundball Stew. I am Matt Stroup. It is Friday, July 15th, and today we're going to be looking at some recent, notable / big NBA and fantasy headlines, including Deandre Ayton staying in Phoenix for now. We will also be looking at some notable Summer League performances and whether they matter or don't matter when it comes to fantasy. I'm joined by Jonas, Nader, Steve Alexander, the old waiver wire crew back. Steve, your headset was like on the front of your face there. Very distracting. The old waiver wire crew back together on a Friday. What an occasion. I'm getting in-season nostalgia right now here, guys, in mid-July.
Yeah, I haven't seen Doc in a minute. It's good to see you, Doc. Initially, when you had your headset over your head, I was like, is he installing the Oculus? Is he going to go into the metaverse for this podcast?
I don't understand what happened with my headset.
Steve, I'm reading my intro and I look over and Steve's like this. He's got like one side of the giant headphones on his forehead, and like I'm just like, are you trying to distract me right now, Steve?
Did that really happen? Oh, I think maybe there was.
I'm just like, the wheels are already off on this episode. Less than 2 minutes in. Oh, there's the party hat. Yep, big day. Big.
Now we're ready. Yeah.
Big day. A little foreshadowing. Big birthday day. Don't let me forget, Steve. Don't let me forget. I'm sure you won't. All right, guys. Before we start, a quick programming note. Some say programming. I've decided to say programming. We are going to a one podcast a week schedule. We have been going hard on the Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule all off season so far. We're going to go to Fridays only for the near future for a little bit of a summer, not break. What would you say? Summer siesta? Solstice. I'll go with that.
The NBA is pretty much a full year league, but I feel like August is like the only one that's like dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
August is kind of like when we get all of our draft guide prepping and content put out for the upcoming season. But other than that, I think we only have like the Kevin Durant news for August and Donovan Mitchell, right? That's the only thing that's going to happen. So,
yep.
You forgot Kyrie Irving, sir.
True.
Well, and we will be addressing those on our Friday podcast when those do happen. But as Steve said, we're taking a summer solstice here. Fridays only starting next week. So don't be alarmed when we're not here on Monday.
Matt, that's going to go by in the blink of an eye, because training camp's coming, preseason's coming. Yep. Like Jonas said, it's a year-round operation now. So I have a feeling that just as we get comfortable with our summer solstice, it's going to be back to full bore before we even realize it.
Yeah, we may need to take this summer solstice opportunity to get in the round of golf that we've been talking about for about 11 years, Steve. One of us needs to get in a car and make it happen.
Dude, I'm game. I mean, I'm always ready to go. You are the one with the schedule that. I mean, you still have little kids. I mean, I don't even have little kids anymore. I can really pretty much go do whatever I want, whenever I want, man.
Amazing.
So all you gotta do is be like, dude, be at this golf course at this time, and I'll be there.
Okay, this is gonna happen. Look, check your fax machine. Keep it close by. Jonas, you may get a fax as well, but it's a longer drive for you. So
sounds good.
Also, Jonas, it was nice seeing you on Wednesday night. We worked together for the first time in quite a while.
We had a blast, an absolute blast.
God, we had
a week for you guys. What a week for you guys. Wednesday night, Friday afternoon. That's great to see. It's great to see.
Great time.
Steve's guys, lemonade. I feel like everything is really coming together here. A little cup of Simply for the podcast. So we're in good shape, I think, as we start this off. And we're going to start in Phoenix, where, as I'm sure you've heard by now, Deandre Ayton is back with the Suns after they matched the Pacers' massive 4-year, $133 million offer sheet. So, Jonas, it's the status quo in Phoenix and Indy for now. And really, in terms of fantasy, you could argue it's a worst-case scenario for Deandre Ayton, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was really hoping to see him go to Indiana. He would have just feasted there. But did anyone else get a kick out of Shams' tweet where it was like, he said the Suns, quote, made clear throughout free agency that the franchise intended to bring Ayton back? No, they didn't. Right?
Did they?
No, this was a total surprise. Like, ever since Game 7 when Ayton was benched, and obviously he had some words after the game as well, like not getting the ball. Man, they never once made it clear. It was like they could have extended him last year. they could have re-signed him for probably a 10%, 15% discount when free agency opened, but they never did that because he was their plan C. Like Kevin Durant was plan A, Miles Turner sign and trade was plan B, and now they're stuck with an overpay for Ayton for $133 million. Now they're deep into the luxury tax. They probably have an unhappy starting center, and they gave Landry Shamet $40 million last year, and now they didn't have the cap space. It was just ridiculous. Like Indiana kind of fleeced him here. I think Indiana did this. I don't think Indiana truly thought they were getting Ayton here, right? I think they just wanted to get this over with.
I wonder what the reaction is like in that Indy war room when this gets matched. I would love to have seen the reaction.
Yeah. But one note, Isaiah Jackson truthers rejoice. Like he still has a pulse. That's really good news. But yeah. Where are you guys back to Ayton? Where are you guys taking Ayton now with this news?
I'm just not, I was arguing with one of my friends on Facebook. They're like, well, Phoenix has a chance to win it all, and they need to do it while the window's open. And I was like, dude, they got knocked out in the first round last year. The year before that, it looked like they might win it all, but I feel like everybody can kind of agree that was fluky. Chris Paul's like, what? How old is he, Matt? Like 46, 47?
I think he's either 36 or 37. He had a birthday recently.
Yeah, he's 37 now.
He's old. I don't see it, man. I think Phoenix is toast. Now they can trade Ayton in January. And I keep seeing that fact being brought up in every article and everything that's written about DeAndre Ayton. So I don't know that he's locked into the Suns. Because there's all this trade talk in January. So I think the Pacers may still try to work something out in January for him. I think he could go somewhere else in January. I just don't know, man. I don't, to answer your question, Matt, I'm not targeting DeAndre Ayton. We blister him every year about the fact that he underachieves. He's only points and boards. He doesn't block enough shots. He doesn't do enough other stuff. And I don't see how that's going to change now that he's got $133 million in his pocket.
Yeah. By the way, Phoenix second round, they knocked out they beat the Pelicans.
Oh yeah,
lost.
My bad.
To Dallas. Ayton, yeah, I don't know. I feel like if I'm drafting him, I'm wishing for something. I'm just like either I have to get some optimism for his blocks going after he only had 0.7 per game last year. That's the big category for me with him. If you told me right now he's going to get you 1.5 blocks a game, okay, great. Yeah, third round, a guy who's going to get me like 18 points, 10 rebounds, a block and a half, sign me up. Safe, good percentages. But his blocks would have to double for that to happen. I mean, at this point, we should be happy with 1 block per game after what he did last year, Jonas.
Yeah. For as big and athletic as he is, there is no excuse for him not being in that range already. I think it's just a question of motivation there. That's just honestly pathetic that he's not over 1 block a game at that size. Like, come on, dude. Seriously.
Yeah. It's frustrating.
This whole thing reminds me, like if all of us were in a salary league right now and we're bidding on DeAndre Ayton, and the clock's ticking and we're at the end, he's like a really high price, and I'm the Pacers, and I'm like, bing, and I bid, and I'm like, oh no, why did I do that? Now nobody else is gonna bid, and then you're waiting the clock, and it's like sold, and then 5 minutes later, the Suns come in and be like, oh hey, I'll trade you the guy that I paid the same amount of money for right now, and I'm like, oh, you just saved me. That's sort of that scenario.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I mean, I just think it's not that I wouldn't draft Ayton in fantasy, but I think I'm going to have him far down enough on my board that I won't get him, if that makes sense. He's not,
that makes sense, yeah.
He's not off my draft board, but I think I move him into like 5th round range. There's just not a lot of excitement for me now, and with Indy, like you said, at least there was some unknown, what's this guy going to do on a new team? Maybe he can explode. Maybe he'll be featured more. Now it just feels like we're lining up for more of the same, and maybe we'll get a handful more blocks. But again, you need a lot for him to be a real difference maker there because he only had 0.7 per game last year.
I have a prediction. Jared is going to watch or listen to this podcast, and then he's going to decide that he's going all in on Ayton. this year, and Ayton will be the guy that we get text messages about every Wednesday and Friday night.
I like it. I do think Jared listens more often than not. So Jared, let us know if Steve nailed that prediction. Okay. Moving from Phoenix to Utah, according to The Athletic, Malik Beasley and Jordan Clarkson are also available in trade talks for the Jazz, in addition to obviously Donovan Mitchell, as we've talked about. I'm just wondering, Steve, are we trending toward a season? This is a hypothetical, but are we trending toward a season where, guys like Nickeil Alexander-Walker and maybe like Jared Butler and Walker Kessler are the featured guys for the Jazz? This team seems so determined to clean out the cupboard that we could have like one of the more random teams with some actual potential fantasy gems on it. Am I getting too far ahead of myself here, or does this sound reasonable?
Jonas, I'm going to let you say the last name because you're better at it than I am. Does this sound like a Victor
Wembanyama
tank situation? Is that
absolutely?
You see some Vic in the who we got in the race for Vic right now?
Okay, I got you. Thunder,
the Utah Jazz. We got
Thunder.
the Oklahoma City Thunder.
The Jazz aren't there yet. The Jazz are trending in that direction. As long as Mitchell's on the roster, the Jazz are still.
The San Antonio Spurs.
The Rockets. Remember, the Rockets have Brooklyn's picks in the future too. That's really interesting to watch too.
Go ahead, Jonas. You go ahead and carry this.
Well, that's the 4 teams right now that are locked into a tank. You can throw in the Pistons just because the roster is underwhelming right now. Obviously, they have some really exciting young talent. Their future is great. The Magic still are a few pieces away from being in that playoff race too. Maybe the Hornets with that Bridges situation. They could take a step back this year in a big way too. So there are probably 5 teams that are all in on the tank, and like 6 to 8 teams that are going to like, you know what, let's go in and get this guy too. So I think we're going to see the tank of the ages here.
So yeah, I mean, we're not drafting yet, right? So it doesn't totally matter, but I'm starting to think about that Jazz roster as sort of an incredible opportunity for some young players potentially. And I'll also put the name, and we're going to talk about him when we talk Summer League. We don't need to get too far into him yet, but Quentin Grimes. There's reports via The Athletic that the Jazz would want Quentin Grimes back in a Mitchell deal with the Knicks. So that's a guy, if he lands in Utah, Mitchell's gone, these other veterans are gone, that could be one of the go-to guys for the Jazz as well. So I don't know. This team is going to be really bad and potentially really interesting for fantasy.
What about one more guy too? Jared Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt.
Right.
Yep.
No one's talking about Jared Vanderbilt. A 10th rounder in 25 minutes.
Yeah, I've mentioned Vanderbilt. I feel like Steve's kind of down on our guy Vando these days.
Vanda's out of Minnesota, baby. So
we're back.
Really, Matt, you bring up a great point because this Jazz roster is full of, and because Donovan Mitchell's gone, right? I don't think you have this much trade talk.
Yeah,
and bring him back and have everybody get along swimmingly. It just doesn't seem all that feasible to me. So there's a lot of guys on that roster that are going to be very interesting this year, and they're going to be cheap, and they're going to be available at the end of your drafts. Like, could this be the year Nickeil Alexander-Walker finally does something?
It could be. I'm still worried about him having like a 37% field goal percentage.
Calling it now. 35 points per game on 19% shooting. Go.
I continue to be very intrigued by rookie Walker Kessler. That's just another name.
And we haven't seen him play, right? He's got a toe injury that he hurt in camp or the combine or something.
As far as I know, the only Jazz game I watched, it was the Bruno Caboclo show at center. So,
wow, Kessler 4.6 blocks per game at Auburn last year. So watch out.
Johnny Juzang was playing a lot in summer league. I know.
Yeah,
I don't know if he did anything. What a mess! What a mess the Jazz are. They might be the favorites right now to get Vic. By the way, this Victor Wembanyama thing, like, first time I really paid attention to him was when Jonas mentioned him about 3-4 months ago. Since then, I've been watching some tape, doing some research. What this guy's going to be, he's going to take over the NBA.
Dude,
I can't wait.
At 16, he was doing a 2v2 with Rudy Gobert, and Rudy Gobert just had no answer for him. It was amazing.
Steve's grinding that Victor Wembanyama tape. I love it. Well into the long hours of the night.
Absolutely.
Okay. Couple of injury updates from Denver, and I believe these are from a Michael Malone interview recently during Summer League on NBA TV. Basically, it sounds like both guys are going to be stuck somewhere in the 20-minute range, not 20, but in the 20s in terms of minutes to start the season. Jonas plus Murray, apparently, according to the same interview, is expected to sit out some games early coming off his knee injury. I mean, I don't want to overreact to one piece of July news, but this certainly gives me some pause when it comes to both guys, and I think even more so with Murray. So would you go so far as to say you're staying away from either or both as of now? Like, well, what's your reaction to hearing that news?
Well, I know Doc's taking Michael Porter in the first round. That's a lock.
Yeah.
But I'm staying away from both. I feel like, yes, these guys have upside. I mean, they were 2 years away from being second and third rounders, respectively. But I'm staying away from both. Like, how often does taking an injured player or someone coming off a major injury pay off? It's just very rare. So I'm staying away from both. I'm curious to see where Doc targets MPJ this year, if he even does at all. So let's see.
I'll take him in the third round. I don't care. Also, I wrote those blurbs on Wednesday night when Jonas was
AFK.
I think he took a nap or fell asleep or went to the ice bucket. I'm not sure what he was doing, but I posted a couple Michael Malone updates on his injured players. Not really too much different than what he said before. Not anything earth-shattering. The thing about Porter is at least he came out the other day and said, I feel like I'm 100%. I'm ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's going to be a lot of risk involved with taking him. I don't know that I think they're going to baby these guys for the first month and see how things go. And then hopefully after that, everything returns to normal. But it's too bad on Jamal Murray, the Blue Arrow, that we can't trust him because he was a pretty reliable player before he got hurt. And I think this year is not the year to draft Jamal Murray. The chances of Michael Porter Jr. completely burning us 2 years in a row, I feel like are not as high as, well, maybe they are high. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm nervous.
I don't know. I don't know if I'll take him or not, but if I do, it'll be in the third round.
I mean, that injury history is scary. His brother Jonte was a sick prospect as well, and he's just now in the summer league after it's like his fourth year trying to get healthy. Like, this is his fifth year in a row trying to get healthy. Like, that family, man, they've had some serious bad luck, so I feel bad for them. But I don't know, man. I still have flashbacks of that time when Michael Porter Jr. went up for that dunk on the fast break and just couldn't jump at all. Like, that was kind of scary, honestly.
And his back was an issue even before he got to the NBA. Right?
Yeah, 2 years. Yeah.
Yes. I'm sure if you're Denver and you wrote that giant check, though, you're not nervous at all about this whole thing. I'm sure they're totally relaxed. It's fine. Nothing to worry about.
Man.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
It's fine. By the way, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope just signed a 2-year, $30 million extension with Denver. So pencil that guy in once again for close to 30 minutes a game. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, the year is 2031, and he's getting 27 minutes a game in the NBA. That guy just stays on the floor no matter where he is. So I think we're in line for another year of like low-level fantasy relevance for KCP.
Give me those 13 points and 1 steal. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Is Nikola Jokic the NBA version of Shohei Ohtani? Is he just going to waste away in Denver and never?
It's a little more extreme with the Angels, I'd say. The Nuggets are at least a playoff team.
I don't know, man. If Murray and Michael Porter Jr. are healthy and Bones takes on a step, I feel like the Nuggets are dangerous, man. Even just Jokic alone with a bunch of scrubs, I feel like they're still a really, really stacked team. And Jokic is just that good, right?
And they have DeMarcus Cousins. So,
wait, is he signed?
I don't know.
Did they sign him again? Did I miss that? No.
He's on the depth chart, but he could be an unsigned free agent. I don't even know.
I would imagine we bring him back though.
I didn't spend as much time in the film room with Boogie Cousins this summer as I have with old Vic.
All right. More to come, and specifically some Summer League performances that do and don't matter for fantasy. But first, we're going to take a very quick break. And just a reminder, if you don't have the NBC Sports Predictor app powered by PointsBet, go download it now. The contests are free and easy to play, and you have a shot to win thousands by predicting what will happen in Major League Baseball, on the PGA Tour, and the NASCAR circuit. We also have a special contest on Tuesdays and Thursdays called Battle of the Bets, where you can agree or disagree with our experts for a shot to collect some cash. All right, guys. We've got some names here. This is not meant to be an exhaustive list, but I kind of went through and pulled some obvious names, I think, and some slightly less obvious names, looked at their summer league numbers, and let's just talk about our takeaways. What do we think this means for fantasy? And we can file this under, yeah, this matters. I mean, or not if you don't think it does. Let's start with the most obvious guy. That's Chet Holmgren. It's a little tricky compiling these summer league stats because you go to some websites and, if a guy was playing in two different places, we don't have like cumulative stats. So I had to go through box score by box score and put this in a spreadsheet, guys. I just want you to know the amount of work that went into this.
Wow.
Chet Holmgren, 5 games. My math has him at 14 points per game, 8.4 rebounds, 2.8 dimes, 1.6 steals, 2.8 blocks, 1.6 3-pointers. I mean, let's just say that again. 1.6 steals, 2.8 blocks, 1.6 3-pointers. We've seen great games from Chet, including that first game. We've seen some duds, so we're kind of getting, do I carry over 14 and 8 straight to the NBA his rookie year? Maybe not, but the defensive upside, Jonas, is right there, and it's tantalizing.
Yeah, I'll have to check the math, but yeah, I mean, that was really, really impressive. Like me and Steve, I think a couple months ago, we're like, there's no way we're drafting any Thunder players. Like, yes, I'm tempted, right, but I've actually seen a couple of drafts, like way too early drafts, just floating around online, and people are taking Chet in the 3rd round. That seems a bit pricey for me. I mean, if he's going in the 3rd round, I don't know if I can do that. Like, I'd much rather wait.
Yeah, I think congratulations. Whoever you are, you got him.
Yep.
You did it.
Played yourself.
3rd round, he's yours. That's a bummer. So early indications are it's going to be very hard for us to get Chet Holmgren. And so, I mean, yeah, these are summer league numbers that matter, Steve. I mean, I think we're seeing, again, I don't say, well, those will be his numbers during regular season, but I think we are getting a clear sign that all of this is going to carry over in the categories that matter.
The thing about Chet's summer league, and it was weird because it seemed like every time I worked a summer league game, Chet was playing and I was covering that game. So I watched literally every minute of Chet's summer league that has happened so far. And there's one more evening of summer league left. And I don't think Chet will play in that one. I don't know if that is out there or not, but they played him tons of minutes. They put him in late in games to get that late game experience. He was running the floor. He was bringing the ball up the court. He was playing center. He was playing point guard. He was doing everything. He's bigger than everybody else on the court. He was blocking shots that these, Richard Jefferson and his mates, the officials, these are young officials that are learning their way.
Young NBA referee Richard Jefferson.
Yeah. They're trying to get in the league and become officials. They weren't doing a great job half the time. He got so many blocks taken away. He had so many crappy calls against him, and yet he still looked better than everybody else on the court for the most part. Like, I don't know, man. I've sort of, Brandon Robar is the beat writer that covers Chet Holmgren, and he and I have sort of become like blood brothers over this Chet thing. And I'm sure we're going to be buying each other beers when he comes to Atlanta because we love Chet and we're not ashamed of it. And is the 3rd round too early for Chet? I think it is. I was hoping that he would be there in the 4th or 5th round. I could totally see me taking Chet in the 5th round of every draft I had this year.
No, Jonas, I can hear it in Steve's voice right now. Steve's taking him in the 3rd.
Steve, in about a month from now, Steve's going to plant his flag and take him late 2nd. It's going to be hilarious. I can't wait.
I do tend to draft guys that I like about a round or two earlier than than I say I'm going to. So
yeah, and you hit
you
more
guys
than you
might
miss,
be
though,
onto
so
something
you
here.
do hit more than you miss. I will give it credit.
Thanks, Jonas.
Jonas, did you want to add anything else about Chet before we move on?
I can't top what Steve just said, so no.
You said we need to check the math. I'm pretty sure I'm right. But
No, you are right. I was just messing with you.
Okay. He's got a 5 steal game. He's got a 6 block game. Excitement all around. I think he's going to lead the league in the two-handed volleyball style spikes this year. Just the straight stuff, like 2 hands up near the rim, just stuffed. We've seen at least one of those. I think multiples.
Well, the block he had the other night, they got overturned. They called it goaltending. Like, his hand was well above the square, the top of the square, and he went up and got this ball on its way up. And when he blocked it, it got stuck on the foam that surrounds the backboard, and they thought he pinned it. And it was just a trash call, and it was an incredible block. It was his best block of summer league erased.
All right, well, moving him up to 3 blocks per game then. If we add,
go ahead and give him to me in the first round.
First round, Steve's passing on Luka. He's taking Chet. Number 1 overall pick, Paolo Banchero. We've only seen him twice, I believe, but in those 2 games, he has averaged 20 points per game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2.5 steals, a block, and a 3. Now, I think there's an 8 turnover game in there, so let's not overlook that. But exactly 6 assists in each of his games, 4 steals and 2 blocks in one of those games. I think, Jonas, I'm most intrigued if we want to take anything away from a 2-game sample by the assists. I mean, I think Banchero is a guy who's going to have a pretty well-rounded fantasy line right away.
Yeah, he's throwing the ball behind his back. Like, you can just tell, like, he's confident as he can be right now. The only weird thing about Orlando is they have like 8 like legitimate bigs, right? You've got Paolo, you've got Franz, who I think should be a 4. You've got Isaac, God bless him. I mean, I don't know if is he healthy? We haven't heard anything, right?
Someone said he was spotted courtside at summer league.
I mean, I love Isaac. I hope he's healthy. I mean, he's such a good player. Remember, he was almost a first rounder, like 2 years ago before the injury? That dude's a beast.
Yeah.
I mean, they got Wendell Carter Jr., Mo Bamba, which was weird that they brought him back, right? That was kind of strange to me. I don't know.
Yeah, weird, but I mean, I don't know. I kind of like. I don't like it for fantasy. I like it for real life. That they're like, we drafted this guy. We developed him. We want to, keep it going.
Absolutely, yeah. But anyway, like, it's just tough to project the minutes in Orlando right now. But man, Paolo, and in terms of like just popping off the screen, I think he was in that top 5 for sure. He was really, really strong.
Yeah.
2-game sample. What was interesting is we had that Chet versus Paolo night lined up, and then Orlando's like, guess what? We're not playing Paolo anymore. That's it. You get 2 games. We've seen everything we need to see. I mean, I get that, but Orlando hasn't done anything since Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Hardaway were there. When my 27-year-old son was like 2 months old. So I don't really trust y'all in Orlando to tell me that you've seen enough. You've seen everything you need to see, while my boys in OKC are running their guy out there every night, grinding him into the ground in summer league. They don't care. They save their players to rest during the second half of a regular NBA season. Summer league, you got to run them out there. So I just think that it was shady that they only played him 2 games. Maybe he was hurt. There was a report of an ankle thing, and he talked with trainers about it. I kind of get it, but come on. And maybe Orlando's gun shy because we haven't seen Jonas said Jonathan Isaac was a first-round pick 2 years ago. I feel like that was more like 5 years ago. I don't feel like I've seen Jonathan Isaac in 3.5, 4 years.
Okay. So what I take away from that?
Where am I?
Where am I? This is me. This is me. The headphones are on the forehead. What I take away from that is Steve's kind of got a little bit of a grievance against the Magic and Paolo Banchero over this summer league shutdown, and somehow it's going to affect where Steve drafts Paolo. That's where I landed.
Out. I'm out.
Steve's out. I
no,
think
he
Paolo,
looks amazing. He looks amazing. I love him.
I think it's going to be maybe more of a just really nice across the board stat line for Paolo Banchero. I don't know if we're going to look back at his rookie year and say, man, this guy really won you this category. But I think he could be a guy who does a little bit of everything. Is my guess. That's my kind of my right now projection for him as a rookie.
And we've been joking about Jonathan Isaac, but I mean, that's a big, if Jonathan Isaac somehow plays this year, that has a huge impact on Paolo, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Paolo's getting his minutes. I mean, the number one pick is getting his minutes no matter what. I think Isaac can affect the other guys. I just don't see him putting like Banchero's playing 30 plus minutes. That's happening. Period.
Yeah.
Even though you don't like him, Steve.
I do like him. I'm just mad at the Magic for sucking for
that's
so
fair.
long.
Okay. Number 4 pick, Keegan Murray, according to my math, has played 6 games and is sitting at 22.4 points per game, 7.3 rebounds, 1.3 steals, only 0.3 blocks, and 3.0 threes. But overall, Jonas, just another guy where you just start to say, man, this guy is ready right now. We're not necessarily penciling him in for 22 and 7, but I think he's on our fantasy radar right away. He was a absolute monster in college in terms of numbers his final year, and I think he's ready to produce right now. He just has that look.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted the Kings to take Jaden Ivey. I thought he was probably the clear pick in my opinion, but man, Keegan has probably been the most impressive player of the summer league. I don't think that's a question at this point. Yes, Chet's been amazing too, but Keegan has been the most dominant right now on both ends too. So, and if you look at that roster, you could probably pencil him in for 32 minutes right now and not bat an eye. Like, he's so good. He's probably moved up 2 or 3 rounds just from this summer league alone.
He seems like the safest one of these guys to draft in fantasy to me. Like, he just looks like he belongs out there. He knows what he's doing. He knows that he's playing for the Kings, and he knows that gives him a free pass to do whatever he wants. I think he's the favorite for the rookie of the year right now, and I think he's the guy out of all of these guys that we saw in summer league that I think is the safest 3rd, 4th round fantasy pick.
I think it hurts his rookie of the year odds though that he is playing in Sacramento because not many people watch them. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like statistically, yes, he could do it, but I don't know if he'll get it because no one watches the Kings.
I also don't think when you say 3rd or 4th round, I think if you're talking about taking Chet Holmgren there, I can understand it because you're taking a huge swing for blocks. I think Keegan Murray, I don't know, what does his rookie year look like? Is it 16, 17 points and 7 rebounds? I don't know, with some steals and a block and some threes. I think he's going to be really good right away, but I'm hesitant about reaching for him because I don't know if there's one category that he's going to dominate for me. I think he's a good player and he's ready to produce right now. But if the ADP gets too high, I'm gonna tap the brakes on that one too.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, he's not going to get you a ton of blocks and a ton of steals, enough that it's going to probably make him worth where you're going to have to take him. Just as far as a complete ready NBA player,
absolutely
he's good to go. But you're right, 3rd round is probably too high for a guy that's not going to get you any blocks.
I'd love it. I mean, if I'm seeing him there in the middle rounds, though, I'd love to take him. I just don't know if he's going to fall that far.
Let's throw out a player comp, maybe a Rudy Gay with a better 3-point shot.
It's funny that you mentioned that, Jonas, because I was literally just thinking about Rudy Gay a second ago. So mind meld.
There you go.
Mind meld happening here.
I sent it to you.
I like that. I like that. And yeah, Keegan Murray, I mean, looks like just looks apart. I mean, he's got NBA size and seems like he's got every shot in his bag. Catch and shoot, can take people down the post, everything. So, like it a lot. We talked about number 3 pick Jabari Smith and his upside the other day. I don't know that we need to rehash that conversation. I really like him. I'm really high on him. You can check that out if you haven't listened to our Wednesday podcast. Do that. But I want to talk about another Rockets rookie here, and that's Tari Eason. In 4 games, I've got him at 16.8 points per game, 10.3 rebounds, 1.8 steals, 1.3 blocks, 1.3 3-pointers. I feel like there's this is a fantasy super sleeper when it comes to rookies, Jonas. Where are you on this guy?
I'm going to throw out another player comp here. A modern-day Gerald Wallace.
Oh.
Yeah, I think the hardcore fantasy people are just going to be all over this guy. Like, he just screams fantasy upside. And not just Summer League, too. You look at his college stats. He was at 1.9 steals and 1.1 blocks. He hit 35% of his threes. Like, there's offensive upside there, too. Like, I'm kind of in on this guy. I think it's going to be a really, really big sleeper for fantasy this year.
I feel like he's landed in a great spot, too, Steve. I mean, for having an immediate path. What was he, the 17th overall pick? So I mean, they have a pretty reasonable investment in him to where they're going to want to take a look. Steve, are you with us on this one?
Yeah, somebody needs to play a small forward. I don't know if it's Jabari or Eason, but they both can't play.
Jabari can play the 4, and I think that's what we're hoping. And then Şengün at the 5,
and put Eason at the 3.
Well, yeah, it's basically Tari Eason and Jae'Sean Tate right now. I mean, I don't even know if Usman Garuba, he sprained his ankle, didn't play in Summer League. They were really high on him last year, and he didn't hardly play at all, too. So he's kind of like the forgotten man. But yeah, I think Tari Eason may be the favorite to start at the 3 right now.
Yeah, well, we need to update our depth chart. As I'm looking at our depth chart, I see the name Josh Christopher, and it struck me, Jonas, when we were having our bonding session on Wednesday night over summer league games, that Josh Christopher was trending on the Roto World search page.
I like Josh Christopher as a player, but I'm not worried about him. And he's more of a
He's a
more
2.
Of a 1-2.
Yeah, combo guard kind of.
I think he dinged his ankle or something, and he was like the 5th most searched player. NBC Sports EDGE / Roto World on Wednesday.
That's how you know it's July.
I was like, Josh Christopher is trending. Something is wrong. But yeah, if Easton's going to start at the 3 and get 30 minutes a game, he's going to be a super sleeper in fantasy this year.
All right, we're going a little deeper here, and I want to talk about Hornets rookie Mark Williams. First couple of Summer League games, he came off the bench, didn't do a lot. Wednesday, though, in the starting lineup, 12 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Followed it up with a 6-point, 7 rebound, 4 assist, 1 steal, 2 block stat line in his next game. Also in the starting lineup, starting to get some momentum. Where are you at with this guy now, Jonas? I mean, this is a guy that I was excited about after the draft. It's mainly Mr. Squeaky Dimes himself, Mason Plumlee. He has to beat out at center, I think.
Squeaky Dimes.
And I don't know. Good to see him getting into the starting lineup, even though it's Summer League, and getting some momentum after a couple duds to start.
Yeah, look, I wanted the Hornets to take Jalen Duren there, 2 years younger, similar prospect, and they ended up trading him for a late first. I hated that, but look, Mark Williams was probably the next best player at that position. They took him. In a vacuum, he should start, but it's Steve Clifford we're talking about. Like,
right.
Rumor has it that Steve Clifford's been staying up into the late hours, drawing up plays for Mason Plumlee. I just don't know if the minutes will be there right out of the gate. Maybe second half of the season when the fans just scream for Plumlee to get off the floor. Honestly, but do they throw in Kai Jones in that rotation too? He looked okay apart from that game where he decided to take 10 3-pointers and missed every single one of them. Fans were just like groaning every time he shot the ball. It was hilarious. But to be fair, Kai Jones is a good player too, a good prospect. But yeah, I don't know if he's a sleeper or not, just because I don't think the minutes would be there. Clifford does not play rookies that much. Like,
that's a good point, Jonas. That's a good point.
And you read about Mark Williams. He's standing with his arms outstretched. He's like 9 feet 9. So he can basically stand on his tiptoes and hang on the rim like Sean Bradley could, like Boban can. And Sean Bradley and Boban are more like kind of freakish niche players. They're not. Sean Bradley had a good career, but I just feel like Mark Williams is more on a Boban path than he is like a Mark Eaton path.
I don't know. I think Mark Williams is a modern NBA big man in the sense like that he hasn't out, a 3-point shot, but I think he's from everything I've heard, I think he's gonna be able to like switch and stuff and play and stay on the floor. I think once he gets there.
Were we saying the same thing about Bol?
No, Bol gets to stay healthy, and he didn't have basketball IQ.
Mark Williams, I think is going to stick. But I think Jonas raised a good point. The question is when.
Yeah, like Mark Williams is a good player, and like the reason I'm not comparing him like the Boban thing is like Boban gets played off the floor defensively, right? Because he just can't keep up. He's slow. That's not going to be a problem for Mark Williams. Like he's a good athlete, and I think he was the best shot blocker in the NCAA last year. I have to double check that, but he was really, really good defensively. I think that's the one thing that may get him on the floor with Steve Clifford because he's a defensive-minded coach too. So maybe he can get into Clifford's good graces soon.
Right, but we may need patience. I think that's a solid way to put it with Steve Clifford now there and James Brago inexplicably gone. That
was strange. I kind of like James, honestly.
I know. I definitely liked him in terms of fantasy.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got a couple more names here, and one of them is a guy I mentioned earlier. That was Quentin Grimes, just in the context of if this guy gets traded to Utah and they're cleaned out. Here's what Quentin Grimes has done in 4 Summer League games. Scored no fewer than 22 points in any single game. Has hit for exactly 24 points in 3 of his 4 games. So overall, that puts him at 23.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, 4.3 assists, 1.3 steals, 3.8 threes. He had an 8-assist game in there. I just think if this guy lands in Utah and we think that roster is as bare as it could be, watch out.
Yeah, and they were using him as a point guard for stretches too. Like that's exciting too, especially when you look at Utah's roster. Like they have Jared Butler, right? That's pretty much it. So I like Grimes. I just want to see this trade happen sooner rather than later because you don't want to like have Grimes still on New York's roster and you take him like expecting this and then something doesn't happen. Like hopefully we get some clarity soon. But yeah, if Grimes goes to Utah, like I think he's going to be one of the buzziest names at the second half of the drafts for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and Steve, the Hawks wanted this guy last year when they traded Cam Reddish to the Knicks, and the Knicks basically said no. I think a lot of teams are kind of eyeing this guy, and I don't know that it can happen on the Knicks, which is frustrating. But I'm hoping that this happens because I'm excited.
I feel like Knicks fans love Quentin Grimes, and like Knicks fans want to see him play.
Yeah,
and
Tibbs,
and did you guys see Tibbs at Summer League?
Wasn't he sitting with Cam Reddish too? Or no, that was Leon Rose. Never mind.
He looked exactly like he looks when he's on the bench. His arms were crossed. He had a scowl on his face, and he was just.
Why am I here?
Why
am I here watching these young guys?
I need to go eat.
Where's Luol Deng? I can't see Deng play.
That's pretty funny. Quentin Grimes in Utah would be fun. I think he's going to be fun on the Knicks. Actually, they have to let that kid play.
I don't know that they do. I don't know that they will, but it's a nice sentiment. I think we're hoping. I think it's Utah or bust for Quentin Grimes here at this point.
Yeah.
Last name I have on my list, guys, is Jonathan Kuminga, who is averaging, I believe, 20.3 points per game in 3 games, but more turnovers than assists, 3.7 turnovers, 2.3 assists. I think he had a 29-point game. I mean, he's really flashed at times. We all like the player, but Jonas, I wonder about his outlook this year. I mean, yeah, the Warriors did lose Otto Porter and Gary Payton II. They also had a Dante DiVincenzo. I just don't know. I mean, is there really a path for Kuminga to shine enough in the regular season for him to be on our fantasy rosters?
I mean, I like him right now as a late round sleeper, honestly. We have to keep in mind, too, the first game of the Summer League was a disaster. Apparently, he just got off a flight and they just threw him in there. So there was a jet lag. So if you take that game out of the equation, like he has a really, really monster stat line. They used him as a pick and roll guy with James Wiseman. That was really fun to see. Like, I mean, there are minutes there. Like Otto Porter's gone. They're probably going to rest their starters a lot more this year, right? You got Kevin Looney will never play 82 games again in his life. Forget about it, right? That's not happening. They're going to manage Klay Thompson still. They're going to manage Curry. Yeah, I think Kuminga has a path to late run value. We just got to worry about free throw percentage and the turnovers, like you said.
I love Kuminga. I will draft him I'll draft him in the 10th round over and over and over again if he's sitting there. It's not a matter of if he can play. It's all about how many minutes he gets for that team. And if he gets 23, 20, between 23 and 25, I'm good with that. I don't think he needs more than that to be really productive. And, you just look at his stat lines from last year. It was hit or miss. It was a big game, then 3 quiet games, and then a big game, 3 quiet ones. But he's got a year under his belt. Steve Kerr, I think, likes him. And like Jonas said, watching him run the pick and roll with Wiseman was fun. He was throwing dimes to Wiseman. I love Kuminga's game. I think 2 years from now, Kuminga is going to be a monster.
We talked Benedict Mathurin the other day. I think we all like him, generally speaking. So check out that Wednesday episode if you haven't already, guys. Before we go, though, any parting or final thoughts or any other players you want to mention before we get out of here? Everybody satisfied?
That I know of. I'm trying to think.
I mean, we weren't trying to cover everybody, but just wanted to give some really takeaways. Everybody good? Steve's got his headphone. Oh, wait, we have some business to take care of. Steve's putting on his birthday hat. Do you have any of the party pipes, Steve? He does have the party pipe, but it does make noise. It's a noiseless party pipe. I'm double checking because also we have, Steve, wait. So it's Tobias Harris's birthday today. It's also,
how did you find this out?
Basketball Reference. It's also Damian Lillard's birthday today.
Whoa.
Big one.
Oh,
yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And for his birthday, we got him a 2-year, $120 million extension.
Happy birthday.
Derek Favors, Steve. How old is he? It's Derek Favors' birthday. How old is he turning today, Steve?
47. Yes. 46.
He's 31.
Okay, can I tell you something real funny? The only person I know that blocked me on Twitter right now is Derek Favors. It was just randomly, I found this 6 weeks ago. Derek Favors is blocking me on Twitter, and I'm distraught. Someone let him know that I am distraught.
Wow.
You got blocked by Derek Favors?
I got blocked by Derek Favors. I don't even know how.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Steve, if anyone should be blocked, it should be Steve, because Steve is always saying how old he is.
I've been blasting Derek Favors for 7 years. I should have been blocked.
I've never had anything against Derek Favors, and I'd like to wish him a happy birthday as well as everyone else I just mentioned.
Happy birthday, Derek. I'd love to see you
birthday,
back on
Derek.
my timeline soon.
Tobias, Damian. Happy birthday to Luke Cornett as well.
Oh,
big birthday for him.
Derek, we know you're watching. Can you please unblock Jonas Nader? That's just not right. My buddy Zach, mutual friend of the show, Zach, Matt, Zach. He was blocked randomly by Chipper Jones, and he's still not really over it. It's been 5 years, and he's like, I don't know why he blocked me. I don't know what happened. That's
upsetting if you're a Braves fan.
Happy birthday, Derek. Happy birthday, Damian and Luke.
And Tobias. Nice.
Tobias. That was the whole reason we put the party hat on.
That's Tobias the party pipe blasting into the microphone is what you heard there.
By the way, Dame Lillard in the second round this year is the easiest path to a fantasy championship, 100%.
Dame in the second round?
Yep, Dame in the second. Dame has been going in the second round of these drafts I've been watching. I'm like, dude, I feel like he's healthy, right?
I feel like he's going to get into the first, though. I just think he's going to. But
when are we going to
if you're right, I'm with you.
I was shocked when I saw it.
When are we doing a way too early draft?
That's a good question.
We need to do one soon.
Steve, let me talk to the planners. You were on the party committee. Let me talk to the planning committee.
Maybe Matt, maybe we could do a two-man
draft. We could I got to see who's here next Friday, but one of these days soon. Let's do a way too early draft.
All right.
I love that idea.
Great.
Guys, this has been enjoyable for me. I hope it's been enjoyable for everyone listening. Don't forget to subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, wherever you listen. Take a moment to rate and review us as well. Programming reminder one more time. We're not back Monday. We're not back Wednesday. We're back next Friday. We're going to be here on Fridays for the next bunch of weeks through the summer. Want to say thanks to everyone for listening and watching live. Jonas, Steve, thanks to both of you. I will talk to you both soon, I hope.
Thanks,
Have
guys.
a good weekend.
Yep.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for all the latest fantasy and sports betting advice from NBC Sports Edge. And don't forget to sign up for NBC Sports Edge Plus to get the best-in-class draft guides, as well as season-long fantasy, DFS, and sports betting tools that will give you the edge.